to quit if it does. Our guest this half hour is Dr. Cornelis Loos. He is chief U.S. economist at NMB Bank, a Dutch bank. He will talk about the Soviet economy with us. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mark.
First of all, just how bad are things in the Soviet Union? The GNP is down 25%. That qualifies as a depression.
That's absolutely true. You lose 1/4 of your economy. That's somewhat like we have seen in the United States in the 30s. Also, the other European countries are going down at the rate of 10–15% this year. So this winter will be extremely bad.
So that would seem to mean that it's time for the politicians to stop bickering over at least humanitarian aid.
Yeah, absolutely. There should be food aid should be provided, medical aid and other humanitarian assistance. And of course there should be technical assistance delivered for the logistics of the distribution, because that is the main problem always in the Soviet Union, the distribution.
Another problem that is emerging and has emerged over the last week or so seems to be, and I don't see a settlement coming soon, is who's in charge? Where do we send the aid?
Well, that is indeed one of the major problems that has to be solved very, very soon. And Mr. Gorbachev has emphasized it several times that the new Union Treaty has to be signed, the lines of authority have to be clarified, so that also foreign investors knows with whom they are dealing.
But it would appear they're not ready to do that.
Well, at the moment it seems to be very difficult, but at least there is a nucleus of an agreement between the Russian Federated Republic, with Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzia, and there is also, of course, an agreement between the Ukraine and the Russian Republic already. So there is a nucleus for a new treaty, and I think that they can come a long way.
The Sherpas of the G7 ministers are meeting this Thursday. Certainly they discussed aid to the Soviets in great detail this summer. Do they have to start from square one now that the Republic is unraveling?
No, I don't think so, because the coup may have been a major political event, and of course the unraveling of the Communist Party is. But the economic circumstances certainly have not changed, and I think that basically the original plans for technical assistance can be drawn up and can be executed. The emphasis of the United States on technical assistance, really the logistics and management part, is very, very important. I don't think that throwing money at the problem is solving it.
There are those that say even technical assistance would be wasted at this point because the currency isn't stable, because markets are not set yet, and because they don't know who's in charge to control government spending.
That's right, but there are already some forms of organization there that will help you. There are some commodity exchanges set up, I think about 300. There are 200 extra private commercial banks set up in the Soviet Union. So there are people are organizing at the grassroots level this whole effort to transform the economy. There is, and for example, there is a labor exchange now. So we have to go from an organization of the goods markets to labor markets to capital markets. And the original forms are there. You should not only look at the politicians at the top, you should also look at the bottom, what is going on there. And I think that will succeed.
All right, thank you very much. We have to end it for now. We'll pick it up again in our next half hour. Our guest this morning, Cornelis Loos. He is chief economist at NMB Bank. We'll talk to him again at 10 before the hour.
The post-coup chaos continues in the Soviet Union. Mikhail Gorbachev is threatening to resign unless the republic is preserved. Will economic unity be salvaged? And what is the impact of a splintering Soviet Union on the global economy? Back this half hour for a look at these issues is Dr. Cornelis Loos, chief U.S. economist at NMB Bank. Good morning and welcome back.
Good morning, Leslie.
You said before that political change does not mean economic change. Do you see the economic interdependence of the republics continuing, and under what structure?
Yeah, I think that they have to create an economic community like the EEC countries in order to deal with several of the problems. They have to preserve some type of trade network, because one of the lessons that we have learned from the last year is that when the Eastern European trade bloc, the Comecon trade bloc, fell apart, that really did damage to all of these countries in that area. So I think they have learned a lesson from that they have to preserve an economic unity, even if the political unity cannot be preserved.
The confusion over the republics makes investment from the U.S. and other foreign countries a little confusing right now. But another issue is the huge debt the Soviet Union has. It would be $1 trillion in this country, and inflation, estimates ranging 100 to 200%. Yeah. Is that an environment for investment that they so desperately need?
No, the perception of risk in Eastern Europe has to be reduced. The debt problem is tremendous. The Soviet Union has about $62 billion debt to the Western countries, but most of the debt is to the West European countries, in particular to Germany 22 billion there. Actually, the United States is hardly involved in that. We have only a $500 million debt there. The Eastern European debt problem is about the same as what was with the LDC debt problem with the United States, and we have found a solution for that. We have to do some debt conversion. We have to look at how we can pick apart these debts and how we can trade in it. In fact, you have to create a market for that in that area, and that is what the NMB Bank does.
Let me ask you this. You said, you know, that you think they've learned their lesson that they have to preserve some sort of economic union, if not political. If I were running Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and I looked east and saw the Soviet Union and looked west and saw Europe, if I had my choice, I would much rather become aligned with the European community. What would keep me in a union, an economic union with the Soviets?
Well, there are a couple of things that have to be taken into account. The Baltic states can form a port and harbor and first entry port to the Soviet Union. After all, the Soviet Union has vast natural resources, oil, gas, diamonds, gold, whatever you have that is necessary for an industrial society. So they can do the export and can do the import. They can do the trade, the commercial contacts to the Western world. I come from the Netherlands, and the Netherlands, for instance, has a harbor port for West Germany. Why wouldn't the Baltic states do the same thing for the Soviet Union?
Something to be seen. Thank you for being with us. Our guest this morning, Dr. Cornelis Loos. He is chief economist at the NMB Bank. It is now 7 minutes before the hour on CNBC FNN.